It was America's introduction to Kamala Harris's appointed running mate. At a rally in Philadelphia, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota began with a half hour of cheering for the two before going on the attack against former President Donald Trump and his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance. The 60-year-old former school teacher and football coach has already been dubbed by some as the Ted Lasso of politics. Joining me now is our international affairs commentator Douglas Herbert. Tim Walz, Doug, making his debut as Kamala Harris's running mate at that rally in Philadelphia, and he came out punching, didn't he, Doug?
And that was the intention. That is exactly what Kamala Harris is looking for in her running mate. Look, we're no longer in the era, Annette, when Michelle Obama used to say, when they go low, we go high. We're now in the era where you have to take the punches, give as good as you get against the Trump campaign, which has shown, really demonstrated that it has no limits when it comes to trying to smear rivals. What he did, and masterfully, is the reason he was chosen. He's a plain-spoken Midwesterner who is able to speak directly to people, but really take aim at Trump in a way and be heard by a lot of middle Americans, be heard in a way that perhaps Kamala Harris, a Californian, seen as more progressive, perhaps cannot be heard. I just want you to hear one of the things he said. He came out first talking about service, saying Donald Trump doesn't have a clue about service. The only thing he knows about service is service to himself. But he went on then and he talked about the economy and crime. Listen to what he had to say here.
Trump weakens our economy to strengthen his own hand. He mocks our laws. He sows chaos and division. And that's to say nothing of his record as president. Violent crime was up under Donald Trump. That's not even counting the crimes he committed.
So he has that witty sort of quip. Violent crime was up under Trump, and that's not even counting the crimes that Trump committed. So obviously, a not so subtle reference to Trump's litany of legal woes, the twice impeached president, recently convicted of 34 felony counts. This is exactly what Kamala Harris needs right now. Needs someone who has that sort of Midwestern dad credibility with average American voters, who can really take the fight to Donald Trump, and obviously not just to Donald Trump, but as the vice presidential nominee to J.D. Vance, who he also was pretty scathing about. Remember, this was before he was governor. He was, for 12 years, a congressman, and he served in a rural district of Minnesota, which is deep red. He was a very lonely Democrat there. And the fact he was able to do that shows his ability to sort of reach out across the aisle, to be able to communicate people of perhaps different political and ideological leanings. And that is what Kamala Harris needs, the capital she needs right now politically, to take this fight to Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance.
Now, within nanoseconds of that announcement being made, the Republicans were already sharpening their attack. What indeed are they saying, Doug?
Exactly what they were expected to be saying. Look, they expected Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania's governor, seen as more moderate perhaps, to be the candidate. They hadn't really sharpened their attack against Walz specifically until more recently. But now they're doing what people said they were going to do. No matter who was chosen would be painted as a dangerous radical left liberal, framing Kamala Harris as dangerously liberal, and now her running mate as well, trying a San Francisco-style liberal. Obviously, the truth couldn't be further from the truth. It is true that he has had a Democratic majority as governor of Minnesota in both houses of the Minnesota Congress, Senate, and the House. They have passed a series of very progressive bills, but progressive, you might just call them humanist. We're talking bills that basically enshrined abortion rights in the state law in Minnesota, expanded voting rights freedoms, expanded gun controls and gun regulations and background checks for prospective gun owners, also expanded free school lunches. I mean, this is economic populism, but you might also call it positive populism in a way, not mean right-wing populism as his critics on the Republican side would see it. So he is not the progressive that the Republicans will try to paint him as. I'll just say one more thing. They're also going to take digs at the fact that in 2020, in the violent protests that followed the killing of an unarmed man by police, George Floyd, it was in his state in Minneapolis, he was criticized for being late to send in the National Guard to quell those protests. protests. The Republicans, you can bet, are going to keep digging at that one. He apologized for that. He recognized that perhaps he should have sent them in earlier. But this is just one of the things Republicans will find any little fault, any kink in the armor, and they will go after it. They're already doing it. But I can say here, firmly, objectively, he is not a far-left radical liberal. Most Minnesotans would say just the opposite. He's pragmatic, he's Midwestern, and yes, he has had a progressive agenda, i.e. a humanist, economically populist agenda.
Thanks for that, Doug. And another 91 days to go until the election day. Thank you.